Hi, everyone. I'm Aaron Larson, executive editor of Power Magazine, and I'm joined today by our senior editors, Sonal Patel and Daryl Proctor. And we're going to touch on renewable energy and its importance and why Power is so focused on this particular avenue of generation for the industry. So, Daryl, I'll kick it to you first to talk and give your perspective on renewable energy.
Thanks, Aaron. So, Power is certainly committed to covering renewable energy. Part of our commitment to that is shown by our long running partnership with RE Plus, which is the largest renewable energy trade show in North America. And we regularly send a group of folks and also exhibit at that particular show every year. We cover all types of renewable energy technology. We do not focus, as many other outlets do, on just solar or wind. We do onshore wind, offshore wind, solar power, geothermal, energy storage. So we're involved in all of those different technologies, and we've really been over the past few years at the forefront of the coverage of renewable energy as it's grown in importance, not just in the United States, but also worldwide. And we have a global reach, and that certainly extends to our coverage of renewable energy. China leads the world in renewable energy deployments, and we've written extensively about so many of those projects that have been built in China and again, across Europe. And we're on top of that. We've focused on geothermal in Iceland, which almost all of the power generated in that country comes from geothermal. So, if you're looking for a good perspective on the importance of renewable energy, I think Power certainly provides that. Again, not just for North America, but worldwide.
Yeah, you got a great point there, Daryl. And one of the reasons renewable energy has become so important in the world, and as most people probably know, solar is the fastest growing form of new generation that's being deployed. But it's because of how much the costs have come down. And I was recently looking at an International Renewable Energy Agency report that came out, in July of 2025. And in it, they were saying, 91% of all new renewable projects are cheaper than their fossil fuel alternatives today. So it's really amazing how that cost curve has just declined so much over the past decade, and it continues to go down. And we think that trend will, continue. They pointed out in this particular report that onshore wind is now the cheapest form of generation at 3.4 cents per kilowatt hour. So really economical there. And solar PV is not far behind at 4.3 cents per kilowatt hour. So, these are the reasons that we see, so much growth in wind and solar particularly, but, also, other renewable forms are so important, and we cover it all. Sonal, I'll turn it to you to kind of touch on some of the important trends you've been seeing.
Absolutely. I think the investment is certainly an interesting outcome, and definitely that's what wind and solar needs for its growth. But I think that we also need to talk about grid investment because there have been momentum for measures to stabilize grids given recent incidents, and because inverter-based resources lack the inertia to help stabilize grid frequency. We've been covering this issue with great interest in detail in recent years. In June, we saw NERC and FERC reliability standards for IBRs, which require wind and solar plants to stay connected to the grid during voltage or frequency disturbances. And then another big one is the April 2025 blackout across Spain and Portugal, where a substation failure and a rapid disconnection of solar plants triggered a cascade that left millions without power and highlighted these vulnerabilities in grid management during that type of high renewable penetration. Another concern that I'm hearing from the renewable industry is the projected skills gap of 7 million workers by 2030, which threatens deployment rates. And of course, as always, there's no lack of misinformation, anti-renewable narratives. There's local opposition to projects, particularly as they concern land use and grid infrastructure. And these are slowing development in many high-income regions. So we'll keep watching.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Sonal. And again, for everybody, Power covers the renewable industry in great depth. And so I hope you'll continue to check out our website, powermag.com, and follow us on all the social media platforms. We're on LinkedIn, X, and Facebook.